guys. Welcome back to an episode of the Jason Down Podcast. I'm your host, Jay, and today we're going to be talking about the Carolina Panthers and how they are a disgrace to the NFL. The whole franchise is just an embarrassment. We're going to get into that today, as well as Bryce Young and what's next for him moving forward. But before we do that, make sure y'all hit that subscribe button in the right corner of your screen on YouTube, and also follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and follow us on the socials. That be Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all that good stuff. Make sure you check us out there, Jace with Down Pod on the socials, and of course, Jace without exclamation point on your audio podcast platforms that you use. But like I said, let's get into that, and we'll go on from there, guys. So thanks again for tuning in, and let's get started. So, like I said, the Panthers now they have been ever since Cam Newton left. They have been going through a QB like just carousel and purgatory, and when they got the first pick in the draft the year before, or rather last year, because of the trade with the Chicago Bears and all that. When they got that first pick, they decided to choose Bryce Young out of Alabama. Now, I'm an Alabama fan, guys. Bryce Young is a great quarterback. At least he was in college. He was a big reason for Alabama's success. And he was a big reason for their almost national championship win against Georgia during the 2022 season. Unfortunately, didn't happen. But all that being said, he just has not translated to the NFL. He hasn't translated the right way. Last year, now granted, the Panthers had an abysmal roster last year, just barely an offensive line, had, not much of a running game, an okay one at that, but not much of a running game. The defense was all right, but still not where it could be talent-wise, potential wise. And offensively, he had no weapons other than Adam Thielen, an aging Adam Thielen, who that's not an ideal weapon at wide receiver for a young quarterback in his first year as a rookie starting quarterback. They had nobody virtually at the receiver position. So what do the Panthers do? So they go out and they trade for Deontay Johnson from the Steelers. Then they go draft a receiver. And then it's like, okay, now we got Bryce Young some help. Then offensive line, they spent like lots of money in cap space on the offensive line. All of that being said, all that happened, and everybody's thinking that the Panthers, okay, we don't expect a lot out of them. Maybe they win 7 games this year, which would be a huge step up from what they did last year, of course, since they were at the bottom of the barrel in the NFC South and, pretty much in the NFC in general. You're down there with the Cardinals and the Bears. So we get to the start of the season, and of course Panthers fans are like, oh yeah, well, like we and even some of us analysts, we're like, you know what, we'll give Carolina the benefit of the doubt. Like they will probably win at least 6-7 games at most, but an improvement from what we saw a year ago, just because of the roster additions that they made and the improvements that they made. And it did not happen. That has not happened so far. They're 0-2, and the offense has looked atrocious. Bryce Young has looked atrocious. He is not playing like a number 1 pick, like an NFL starter, and he's just not looking good. Like there was a play against the Chargers where he literally looked into a double coverage and threw a pass. He threw a pass right into a double coverage. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? That's something you learn like in middle school not to do as a quarterback. You never throw in a double coverage. Like that's something that's drilled into you from an early point. And it's, of course, it's as a quarterback, and it's never stopped being drilled into you from that point on. But it starts early. Like that's not something that in college it's like, hey, by the way, because you're a quarterback, don't throw in a double coverage because there's a chance it could get picked off. But no, that's something they instill into you very early, at an early age when you play that position. Because, again, turnovers kill offensive drives. You turn football over, it's not good because you're killing your offensive possession, and, turnovers can cost you football games. So, big deal that you shouldn't do that. Yeah, he did it. And not only that, but, Bryce Young was running around up there, like, just aimlessly. I know what he was doing. I had no idea what Bryce Young was doing. in Sunday's game against the Chargers. He looked just lost and just like out of place. And what culminated in that? He got benched for Andy Dalton, which was announced this week. So he will be sitting on the bench Sunday while Carolina takes on. Who do they play Sunday? I'm just curious. They play. Let's see here. They play the Raiders on Sunday. So yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, that's a really good deep. Yeah, they made the right decision because that Raiders defense is really good. Good pass rusher, Max Crosby and those guys. Like, Young was better off sitting on the bench. Now, how long this is going to be, we don't know. I mean, I'm assuming it's just going to be for the foreseeable future until Dave Canales and the staff feels like Bryce Young will be ready to go back out there and perform like he's supposed to. But it's for right now, it's not looking good for him. And this is and look, Bryce Young is a great guy. He's a Christian. He's a follower of Christ. He's a guy who works hard. He gets after it. It's just so far his college success. But if we're talking for football, from a football perspective, his success in college is not translated to the NFL, and that's it has to go like that in order for you to be a successful NFL player. Like you got to be able to play at a high level in this league. Otherwise, you're going to end up falling into the ether of all the top picks that were that's supposed to have these that had these big expectations coming out that were supposed to be these big really good football players and they just did not live up to them. Jamarcus Russell being a prime example of one. And then the list goes on from there on. But like, Bryce Young doesn't want to be like that. He shouldn't want to. So I'm assuming like if it's me, like I'm like, hey, you know what? This got a lot of fire under me. Like I'm not starting, but I'm gonna do I'm gonna work hard, extra hard in practice, get to the film room early. Stay in the film room late, get to the weight room early, stay in the weight room late, like get after it in practice and do what I got to do just to show the staff that I am worthy of this starting position. And I've got to make the steps and the strides to improve. Like I said, whether that's studying, the film, breaking that down and throwing after practice with the receivers late, just trying to get the timing right, whatever the case may be, talking to my offensive line, telling them, hey, like this is, we got to do better at these certain protection sets, or, I'm going to need you guys to, communicate when you see a certain, defensive front, like, hey, communicate, hey, they might be going this way, they might be going that way, study the tendencies of these other defensive fronts that we're going to be playing. So, what situations they may be likely to try to stunt blitz, or they may, try to bring somebody extra on a corner blitz, or drop back in the coverage, or, just looping around, different pass rush moves, all those things, trying to communicate with my receivers, making sure we're good on the timing, making sure that, hey, you're supposed to cut 10 yards in at this route, and I'm going to hit you right there at that point. But if you don't cut at that exact moment, then it's going to be off. Hey, you're running this curl route. You need to run it and then sit down right there so I can get the ball to you, right? Create enough space between you and the defender, things like that. And that's just how it should be. And clearly Bryce Young hasn't been doing that, but again, the Panthers have not, the Panthers organization is just, they're a dumpster fire, so to speak, like in layman's terms, they are a dumpster fire, and they have been for quite some time now. Really, ever since the Super Bowl with Cam Newton in 2015 when they played the Broncos after he did not jump on that fumble. Like, look, the Panthers just, I don't know, man. Maybe they got cursed or something. I have no idea. I don't really believe in that stuff. Like, but sometimes sometimes you're just not good. And the Panthers haven't been in that position for a long time. And they thought by drafting Bryce and building it, they said, hey, you know what? This is our QB of the future. Maybe he can take us to the promised land that we were meant to, go to with Cam. But that didn't work. So that didn't work with Cam. And now we got Bryce. It's okay, now hopefully he's able to do that. And so far he's not been able to produce in his career at this point in time. So look, and I wish the best of luck to Bryce Young. Like, this isn't me just clowning on him. Like, this is just me being a football analyst. Like, just seeing what I see on the tape and what I've heard and reports and everything like that. Like, yeah, it's not looking good for him. But again, he can turn it around. You can always turn it around, man. You can always do that, And And that's part of being in the league. It's a make or miss league in the NFL. It's like it can change on a dime. Things can change on a dime. You can be your coach to say, hey, this is my guy. This is going to be our quarterback one day, and the next day you could be benched, right? So you have to be able to mentally and physically and emotionally be able to handle those things and respond to them, not reacting to them, but respond to them in a way that's going to get you to where you want to be as a professional football player. And that's what Bryce Young has got to do. If he wants to be a successful professional football player. Now, if he does it, then hey, you know what, bud? Keep going on this track you're going. But I'm most certain that he does. So that being said, that's going to nip the bud in the Bryce Young talk for right now. But yeah, like I say, Panthers face the Raiders on Sunday, so that'll be an interesting matchup. And just a few other matchups for Week 3 that I'm going to kind of sift through here quickly for a moment. Just, of course, we got the Jets and the Patriots coming on tonight on Thursday Night Football on Prime Video. This is going to be an interesting game. Both of these teams have really good defenses. The Patriots' offense has looked better than what it did like a lot of last year, majority of last year. So I'm expecting them to continue to improve on that front. And yeah, I'm expecting them to improve on that front. Now the Jets, they got that huge win over Tennessee last weekend, and like, you know, like that's what you gotta you have to be able to get these wins, these close games, these one possession. You gotta make those plays when it counts, and the Jets are able to do that after a big loss against San Fran in week 1. They could bounce back, play some good defense. I mean, it's a Titans team that, had played decently in their first game. So now they got the Patriots tonight, and big thing for both teams is establishing the ground game. Patriots want to get the ball to Stevenson, but we're gonna need to see some stuff from the receiving core as well. Like I need to see some stuff from that Patriots receiving core. Some of those guys need to step up and all that good stuff. And for the Jets, just continuing to see Aaron Rodgers just continue to make his strides back. Like you want to see him just continue to build on that rapport with Garrett Wilson and Alan Lazard, and all those guys and Breece Hall. Just get that offense kind of clicking, get that offense rolling, get it electric, how it has the potential to be. That's what we want to see from the Jets. So my final pick, I think I'm going to have the Jets win this game tonight because, like I said, I think, offensively, the receiving core is more talented than New England's, more established. Like Rodgers has just got to be able to get the ball to him and, just kind of control the game, control the clock against that Patriots defense. And for the rest of the league coming up on Sunday, got some other interesting matchups on tap. I mean, Texans and Vikings is going to be a huge game. Both of these teams undefeated. Vikings have been a great defense so far this year. Sam Darnold has been doing what he's supposed to do offensively, just getting his team in scoring position, be able to score. And, he's been playing good so far to the surprise of many, including myself. So, hey, shout out to Sam Darnold there and the Vikings. But this is going to be a test for that defense against a high-profile Houston offense with C.J. Stroud and Nico Collins and Tank Dell and all those guys, Joe Mixon. So it's and C.J. like I said, C.J. Stroud already. But it's going to be a huge test for them. So we'll see who has the edge there. I'm going to pick Minnesota to win this game, actually, because I think that defense at the end of the day will just make that play or two that'll kind of snag them the win there. So I'm picking Minnesota. And then other games of note, I say definitely the Bears and the Colts are going to be an interesting game as well, just to see how Chicago, see if they can bounce back against Indy. Both of these teams trying to get themselves, kind of get some traction in their division. AFC South right now is all Houston. Jacksonville, Indianapolis, and Tennessee are just looking not too good right now at the moment. They're not looking consistent enough. It's early, so everybody's trying to get some traction in their division. So see how that goes. But for the most part, yeah, it's gonna be interesting week 3 here, and it all kicks off tonight with Thursday Night Football on Prime Video. So make sure y'all check that out, and stay tuned. Here at Jay Smith Down for more updates, news, all that good stuff. And we'll see you next time on the show.